That's my thing.
Oh man, I didn't get the first. So how's
I'm
everyone
the one
doing?
who starts the recordings. I get to do the hey.
That's true. That's true. I'll always get the second hey, and then maybe if Ben or Nick ever come back, they can do hey. Who else misses Nick coming in 30 minutes late with his sheets and his like coffee
And
that he drinks
asleep.
and then he pours his diet soda into the ice that had the coffee and definitely still has like creamer and stuff on it. Who misses that?
So last part I was talking about, I wonder if this game's going to remain hard. And oh boy, it does. I would actually say that these enemies are the one exception. And I'm not exactly sure what's going on and why they're so easy. I mean, obviously you saw that last part that it took like 17 handgun bullets, but they die in a couple machine gun shots. But this machine gun is not that all-powerful.
Can I just give a big shout out to... Well, that's nice, 8,400. Can I give a big shout out to the sound guy at Capcom for how excellent he did with...
He actually reminded me.
Well, how excellent he did with... Oh, yeah, that makes sense. With the sound effects on the walking. Like, every walking sound effect is so good. Now, the audio mixing, not so great in my opinion.
Yeah, it kind of just depends on the game. But I would say audio mixing and just, like, getting that middle ground is something that almost no games get actually right. So yeah, we're gonna want to farm as many points as possible in this one safe room in the entire game.
Can these things hurt you? Like, eventually?
Yeah, they can. They go up and then they swipe their necks at you, or bring down their faces with their long necks.
So is that combo timed, or just you getting hit?
It is timed.
Okay.
And obviously it does stuff. That sucks. Alright, I lost my 10,000 point bonus.
Seriously? Oh, dang.
It's fine.
You still must have got a pretty good amount. 22,000. Is stuff at this point worth, like, just $1 billion?
I do have to buy some stuff in this part. Possibly 2 weapons. Actually, definitely 2 weapons. I did make a safety save just in case I don't have enough. So this will be the last farming room we do. Because this game does kind of recognize when you're like farming a room really hard, then they stop spawning altogether.
Oh, that's interesting.
But usually it lets you farm like a room to like completion twice.
Now that's kind of cool and kind of devious at the same time, you know? And they're like, whoa, whoa, whoa. Like, maybe they know that this room's easier than your average room, so they're like, yeah, you can have it twice, but after that, no-go.
Yeah, especially, like, I was really, like, expecting, like, even on hard, I was like, boy, is this game gonna just be easy? But no, it's definitely not the case. Alright, time to move on.
Well, it's not like there were, whatever those are, those types, there were like 60 you just killed. Did I mention last time how the time travel for this is like, obviously time travel is always super silly, but how silly, like, the ideas of this, you know how, like, in, like, many pieces of fiction, they're like, you can't do anything in the past, you know what I mean? Or you'll change all of history, and in this one you're like, kills 500 dinosaurs.
Yeah, so we'll get into the time travel. Not this part, but later. They do explain some stuff. And this game has a Kino plot.
Good. That's what we need.
I mean, we already got the start of it with Alright, so I guess I'll show this, even though this room sucks. So you know that part last time that I showed of getting a key card in the river that you can't really see? This is what it's telling you.
Looks like this is the end for us. After surviving all this time and to be killed by humans. Who are they? Those people with the full-face helmets and the rider suits. Somehow I managed to escape, but I seem to have dropped the key for this facility. How foolish of me. I can only think of one place where it might be. I must have dropped it somewhere near the spring in the jungle.
Right there.
That spring is rather a fast current considering its small size. I must go there quickly or else it may drift away somewhere. The disc I want to deliver, Colonel Mason, has been stolen by them helmets. I believe that the data was about some kind of autopsy.
Alright, so yeah. Basically, if you're playing this on the first go, there's no possible way that you can, like, know that's a thing.
So you would have to go the whole way back?
Yeah.
Dang.
So definitely just pretty egregious. Did I use the wrong one?
Just not the magic pixel.
Of course, I actually have to touch a door, and I might get hit.
Yeah, I do like it when games are like, you opened it, let me go in automatically.
Those, I don't know why I can't think of their name right now, but they are just the most annoying.
Pterodactyls?
Hey, more of our boys.
What up, lads? Hello?
Alright, we'll get back to that. I forgot about this one. We're also going to find this one.
So this kind of reminds me, question of the part. Here's a deep question of the part. What is, in general, your biggest fear, and why is it deep sea stuff? Like, just the thought that, like, pretty easily a bunch of things like this could just exist in the sea. Like, if, like, you came to me and you were like, hey, they just discovered something that looks like a huge dinosaur like this in deep sea, I'd be like, okay. Like, I wouldn't be surprised, you know?
Yeah, I actually looked up some deep sea videos of, like, creatures that they either have seen or they theorize. And while it's creepy, I also think it's very fascinating. And, like, there's been, like, some things about people saying that there's, like, things that are, like, 10 times bigger than, like, a whale. And it's like, wow.
Well, I mean, that one video of the really, really, really long squid, where, like, they're, like, really deep sea, and then, like, the camera pans down, and you just see, like, its legs go on for, like, literally hundreds of feet, and you're like, cool. Yeah. Like, it's just, like, how horrifying. And even, like, small fish, they have no eyes and stuff. They're just so terrifying.
And they live with, like, millions of pounds of pressure on them,
yeah.
And it's just like, how do you live?
Like, they don't have, like, freaking, like, skeletons of any type. They're just essentially gelatinous, like, everything down there. It's, like, so horrifying. So, yeah. If you're like, I'm afraid of public speaking more than, like, deep sea stuff, I don't know. I understand you're not likely to go deep sea, but it's still really scary to think it's on the same world as us, that there's just, like, definitely these, like, huge, like, kraken type things.
Yeah,
and
there's recesses of the ocean that, like, scientists can't possibly explore because the water pressure is so intense that you can't get any equipment down there at all. Alright, so we're going back to that one flashing box. It only gives you a code for the elevator, but the code is randomized, so I can't just guess it.
Rip.
It might be randomized based off the save file, but I'm not sure. I actually don't even remember what the code was.
But yeah, that's why when people are like, some things are kind of silly, like urban legends, but Loch Ness Monster, I'm like, probably exists. I'm just like, I'm not even to the point where I'm like, it could. I'm like, it's the sea, so I'm sure it exists. And you could tell me that they found 10 of them, and I'd be like, I'm sure they did. Because that stuff is just, that's too much for me. The whole ocean can, I really like seafood, but the whole ocean can go fly a kite. Because it's spooby.
Hello, fuel tank. There's actually flavor text all over this game if you, like, look at everything. It's
But
like,
how?
It's, like, surprising.
Yeah, but it's, like, not meant to, like, it's, like, not the right game for that, you know?
It's like, why do they bother?
You're like constantly running from stuff. Oh yeah, look at this.
All right, it's 4-5-2-1. So I think it's probably based off like when you start the game, because that does sound pretty familiar.
I wonder if it's truly randomized or it's like you know Resident Evil 3. Like some of the safes will have like 3 or 4 choices. I'd be curious to know if they took like a similar approach.
Yeah, it definitely could be.
Hello, 20,000 money.
I mean, it's so much easier to code.
Oh my god, 32.
Yeah.
Good lord.
So, pretty nice. We are buying some expensive stuff. Right.
Imagine if you didn't have that room.
And I also have to go out another door. Oh, what's this? I should probably read this.
June 2nd, 10:30 p.m. Tomorrow afternoon, 2 mechanics are coming to this facility from Edward City. It is time for the annual maintenance check of the 3rd energy reactor. Whoa, this will be the 9th time. The instant something happens in the underwater reactor, that is when all lifelines will be cut off to us. Again, all we can do is to pray that nothing will happen. As weird as it may sound, sometimes I feel that it just do us all a favor if that reactor just blew up on us. June 3rd, 4 p.m. The mechanic who went to the underwater 3rd energy reactor still has not returned. They probably became their lunch. This is a problem. One of the mechanics, Bob, has the key to the entrance of Edward City. To go from the facility to the city, it is critical that we get back this key. I guess there's no real choice but to get in the diving suit and go down myself. I just hope I don't become their dinner. Dude, do you get to go undersea?
Oh, we'll see.
Yo! It's funny that I was mentioning undersea stuff then. You know, one of the best, like, true life silly things is that, like, James Cameron, of all people, just is like, I'm gonna go super deep in sea for some reason. And he, like, goes, like, he goes deeper than...
Dude, let me see the body. All right.
He goes, like, deeper than most humans ever have. And he's like, that's because I'm James Cameron. Whew.
No hit Reno. No hit Reno.
Oh, my gosh. Yeah, those things are so annoying.
Yeah. And they have a very predictable pattern. They always land in front of you, and you can shoot them then. But I would say the biggest problem with this game in general is auto-aim. Sometimes it really does the opposite of what you want.
By the way, who here is hyped for Avatar 2, 3, and 4 at literally the same time? No one? Because the first movie came out, like, 12 years ago.
Yeah, isn't Avatar 2 not even coming out this year? It's like next year or the year after.
It's like Avatar 1 came out in like 2008, and I watched it within the last year, and I was like I love James Cameron stuff, and I was like, oh man, this movie's so boring. And it sucks because everything else he ever made I like love, and I'm like, spent 15 years of his life on this stupid series. Pretty cool. And going underwater.
Alright. Door to the elevator. Not there.
And, like, the only reason it made so much money is because it was, like, the first of its kind with, like, 3D stuff and really fancy. You know?
James Cameron's name alone is a selling point.
Yeah, for sure.
At that point of his career. Whoops. Dang it.
4-5-2-1, right?
I just accidentally did 5 first. You can't push left to go faster.
Rip. Ding. That Kino noise.
Alright. This part's cool, but also very stressful.
Already this game has, like, a million times more variants of, like...
Yeah. I think...
settings.
And
everything, actually.
I can totally understand why people are turned off by the points mechanic. I think they could have maybe made this game not be quite as arcadey. But this game is so much better than Dino Crisis 1, in my opinion. Like, Dino Crisis 1 had, like, a total of, like, 4 dinosaurs. And they're just so incidental. This doesn't matter.
Yeah, the only ones I can think of that you really can't, like, run away from are the ones at the very end, like, the big ones that are, like, a Hulk kind of thing. I think they're, like, purple in the game. That's the only way I can explain it. Because, like, Velociraptors, for the most part, you can easily get past.
Alright, so that note that we just picked up was like, hey, the power system sucks, and you have to, like, manage these nodes and like jolt them back with electricity. So this is literally just like a Simon Says type of thing, or whack-a-mole, more like it. So yeah, we're doing this for a while.
Oh. So
timing is actually sort of strict, not like super strict, but especially with these controls, tank controls doing this is not super fun.
Boy, this thing sucks.
Yeah.
That's probably it,
Nice.
right? Yeah. It's just like, hey, this thing sucks so bad you have to constantly supply power to it. It's like, well, that sucks.
Alright. Time to get the diamond suit.
Worry.
I'm sure nothing's gonna happen.
You had to turn that on just to open that thing. She could have just shot it with her.
You
thing.
do lower his entire thing.
Oh.
Alright. So, the weapon we're given automatically is the needle gun. And the good thing about it is that it has unlimited bullets, but that's the only good thing about it. It sucks.
What does that remind me of? An underwater thing where you have like an automatic needle gun. It's not Devil May Cry, is it?
Devil May Cry does have a needle gun underwater portion.
That's it. That's
Yeah.
what I'm thinking of, yeah. Another Capcom game.
Yeah, released like
Weird.
1 year apart.
Yeah, because I was like, what? I was like, what thing gives you an automatic gun that you use underwater?
Alright, how does this cutscene screw me? Does it start me like right here? This game has the worst, putting you in horrible situations.
Oh, I mean,
cutscenes.
the very beginning of the game is like inexcusable.
Two of them, eh? And right there? Yeah, okay. So the good thing about it, even though it takes 1,000,000 bullets on hard, is that if you just keep shooting, they generally keep stunned. But what we're going to want to do is that, especially since I got a lot of points, is that we're going to want to buy a underwater, like, explosive gun immediately.
So there's a decent amount of underwater stuff, is what you're saying.
Yeah, it's not... This isn't, like, the longest thing in the world. But yeah, I definitely want to do that as fast as possible.
Glorious small med pack.
And the unfortunate thing is that, I mean, obviously, just in general, you're on a disadvantage because you're in the water. You move so much slower. But these guys, especially when they spawn, what they're going to do is just try to launch at you immediately.
How do you get back up?
You don't. Goodbye.
Yes. See ya.
So I actually think we can buy the gun right now. Buying this gun is actually mandatory because you do need it to break a platform, so you don't really have a chance or choice in the matter. But I am also going to increase the ammo on it, which I probably don't need to. I'm not going to go all out. I'm just going to go up to 50. It just makes my life a lot easier. It's only 6,000.
Save literally every second you get.
Oh, yeah.
That's like, just seems like this kind of game.
Now, the disadvantage to the underwater explosive gun is that it's not hit scanning. It like physically shoots out like a round, so it's not as good.
As always, we'll conduct the preventive maintenance by assigning labor tasks. Bob will be in charge of the third energy reactor itself. Alec will be in charge of checking the water circulation system. As in previous years, for the safety of the mechanics during maintenance work, make sure to close the shutters for the cooling aqueducts. Alec will unplug the plug, which allows control of shutter, and keep it until Bob is done checking the reactor. The other day, there was an explosion in the water circulation chamber. This explosion caused a crack in one of the concrete columns. One more explosion would have probably destroyed it. Remember to repair that as well. Uh-oh.
Alright, so, yeah, we need to get a plug. I'm not exactly sure the specific reason why, but we need to get a plug and come back here.
I like how anyone who's named Bob, I instantly think of them, like, not being able to be, like, I don't know how to put it, like, not being able to be, like, an engineer or someone in power. You know what I mean? Like, if someone was like, hey, here's the president, Bob. You know what I mean? Or, like, oh, the smartest man in the world's named Bob. I'd be like, no, not. You know what I mean? Like, it's just funny. At least to me. Yeah, 3 instead of like 100, like I don't know.
Yeah, I think that
bullets.
the first one actually. Oh, by the way, you have an actual jump.
That's so cool.
The good thing about the auto aim in this game is that if you change camera angles and then just push R1, if there's an enemy that spawned, you'll automatically start aiming it. So that's definitely a good thing.
So I noticed your no damage thing is higher than it was before. Is it just because you're on a different island, or
it depends on the enemies that you're facing. So even a very late game, if you're just facing velociraptors, you still have the same multiplayer. It's just the game is lenient for harder enemies, and they do get a lot harder.
Love the water physics and effect.
Yeah, it's
very good.
It reminds me of Mega Man Legends 2, which I think was actually released the same year.
By Capcom, who could literally do no wrong back then. Back when games didn't take like 50 years to make. What a surprise, guys.
No Killerino. Get up.
Oh my god.
Yeah, I think in that state they can only attack you twice, but I'm Pincer Strike right now. This is not good. Right. Yeah, this room sucks. We're in it for a while. There's actually some platforming we had to do.
Cool.
That was like 1 inch away. That took like barely any damage. Not that I'm complaining.
See crocodile guy. Yeah. It's funny to think back in the 90s, mostly 90s and 2000s, how many companies could like literally do no wrong, you know? Like Konami and Capcom.
Yeah.
And just... like nowadays, like it, except for Nintendo, which obviously people can have their faults with Nintendo, like charging too much for stuff or doing too many like rehashes or not reinventing the wheel. But it's like, besides Nintendo, what company is like immune from like major criticisms? You know what I mean? Like what like back then, what Squaresoft game would you not play? You know what I mean? In PS1 era, you'd play every Squaresoft game, and at the very least be like, hey, it's pretty cool. It's not my style, but it's pretty cool. You know what I mean? Like, what? Are there any... oh, you're gonna hit it.
Doesn't even let me just do it. It's like, gotta spell it out for you. I mean, I guess it's not super obvious the first time. Hello? Okay, that was weird.
Is there any, like, developer that you're like I'll play every game they make, or like whatever?
Man, like nowadays?
Yeah, like now.
Not really.
So like even something like Atlas, you would be like, maybe like whatever.
I just don't really like. I didn't really like Persona 5. I know that's sacrilege to some people, but I didn't really like Persona 4. Didn't really like Persona 5. I'll probably get Shin Megami 5 whenever that comes out in the next decade.
I mean, I'm trying to think for me.
Oh.
Do you have to do like the whole thing again?
That sucks so much, dude. And I have to reload.
trying to think for myself. Like, Capcom doesn't make that much. Like, there's certain series I'll play every game of, like Resident Evil or whatever. But, like, I won't, like, play every Capcom game or whatever. I guess I play... Wait, who makes Last of Us again? Naughty Dog?
Naughty Dog.
I think I play most Naughty Dog games.
Yeah.
Like Last of Us and Uncharted.
I mean, Naughty Dog...
But they don't even make that much.
Yeah. Like, I really like Crash 1 through 3 and Jak 1 and 2. But, like, Uncharted...
Yeah, but at that point, that's almost 20 years ago.
Yeah, but, like, Uncharted... I really don't like any of the Uncharted. I guess the second one's the best. But it's a game I beat once and have no intention of ever going back to. Yeah, and going back to discussing this game and what I just did, I could have just activated an elevator, but I didn't. I feel like a complete dummy, but whatever.
Yeah, you get them sweet points. I mean, you literally have 100,000. I definitely understand that the next weapon you buy is going to be like 70,000 or something like that, because that's just how exponentially these games work. But yeah, I know a lot of people, well, maybe not so much now with Fallout 76, but a lot of people would say, like, Bethesda. But, like, even, okay, like, there are a lot of BioWare fans that, like, back during the 360 era would be like, I'll play anything BioWare. But after Mass Effect Andromeda and Dragon Age, they do both of those, I think.
Yeah.
Like, would those fans still say that? Probably not. And you know what? It sucks to say. No, I mean, I did not like Death Stranding at all, but I would still play or give any Kojima game a chance.
Yeah. I haven't liked a Kojima game. Wow, I can't believe it just did that in the middle there. Dogs be merciless right now.
I would at least give any Kojima game, like, a chance.
I didn't like MGS4.
I did give Death Stranding a chance.
I didn't like MGS5. Peace Walker I find to be a fun game, but the story itself was also pretty underwhelming. I don't know.
Oh, you know what?
I just feel like Kojima wasn't the brains behind MGS. I think it was the team working at Konami. And, like, I think him being the director for games like MGS2, like, without Kojima, MGS2 would not have even been close to what it is, and I really respect him for that game. But other than that, I think Kojima's an ideas man, and when there's no leash against his neck controlling his ideas, it can end up very bad.
Yeah. I really like first-party Sony stuff. Like, whoever made Spider-Man, I don't know if that just counts as Sony, but, like, I like God of War games. I really love Spider-Man. I think it's just an excellent game.
I don't know why I can't think of the name right now, but Spider-Man was made by the people that made Ratchet and Clank.
Oh, not Neversoft. Insomniac?
Yeah, Insomniac.
I would play anything Insomniac, I think. But yeah, I guess the major point of this discussion is, back then, you could probably mention a half dozen companies that you'd be like, I'd play anything. Like, I would play anything Squaresoft made on PS1. No question. I would at least give it a try, you know? And there's not any companies like that nowadays where you're like, oh yeah, everything they release is great.
Yeah,
you know?
pretty much when Squaresoft... Yeah, that's right. And I fell.
Dang it.
This part sucks.
Yeah. Well, and it's like, if you didn't shoot there, you might have got knocked off anyway, you know? It feels like they just keep coming.
Oh, they do. I'm sure there's a point where they stop spawning, but I probably won't be in this room nearly ever long enough to find out.
And that's a shame. That there's not the end-all be-all company, you know? That's like, well, and it is Nintendo. Like, as much as we give them, like, crap, they are definitely the best publisher and developer because at least they like make good stuff. They have very bad business practices, whether it's stupid or otherwise, but at least everything they make is like quality.
Literally attacked me exactly when I stopped pushing him around. Game knows.
Except for arms, I guess. I mean, I guess it's fine.
The newer Paper Mario games are garbage.
Yeah.
This is all I had to do, and I could have avoided that entire thing. But I was like, oh, what's the point?
I'll be epic.
Actually, this wasn't epic at all.
Yeah, I guess they don't hit a home run every single one, but it's still pretty quality overall.
Yeah, in terms of, I guess, consistently. I think there's some franchises that have stagnated like really hard, like Kirby. But that's not specifically Nintendo. That's
I mean, the only reason we really had fun with Kirby for the Switch was just because we were all playing together.
And I'm not just talking about Switch Kirby. I'm talking about like Kirby the last 15 years.
Yeah.
It's just like, oh, it's just a Kirby game.
Honestly, like, besides Kirby Superstar, which I think really changed the mold, after that, I'm like, Kirby's Kirby, you know? Kirby's Epic Yarn, I really, really enjoyed. It's not particularly difficult or anything, but it's at least different enough that you're like, this is really cool, you know? But yeah, every other Kirby game's like, okay, Nightmare in Dreamland, okay, Return to Dreamland, okay, you know? Kirby 64 is like 2D but 3D, and you're like, okay.
Yeah, that was fair challenge right there. Can't see what I'm shooting at. Auto aim does whatever it wants, down to 3 bullets, but
all you gotta do is get out of this room, right?
I think I went the sort of long way. Top. Yeah, this room is one of the worst rooms in the game.
Just the simple fact that you go so slow. See ya. Yeah. There's definitely some.
Like 2D Mario is stagnated.
Very much so.
I mean, Mario Maker is fun, I guess, but it's more like, here's the tool to make your own levels.
But if you look at 2D Mario, it's New Super Mario Bros. For the Wii, which I just finished playing with Ferris, and it's like obviously a very good game, and it was very different, and I don't know if you remember, but it was huge when it came out. Like, it was, like, ridiculous. And then it's New Super Mario U, which is, like, this, like, the same idea, but just different levels. And then there's New Super U Deluxe, and it's like, it's the same game. So, like, that was... Mario for the Wii came out in, like, 2009. So that's, like, 10 years of being, like, this is the same thing.
Yeah,
you know?
Like, 5 years ago, I was hearing rumors about, like, oh, the next 2D Mario game is going to be change the formula, hardcore. And it's like, I guess technically, yeah, because New Super Mario Bros. U came out in, like, 2013 or something. It's like, that's another really,
What?
I'm doing this part so bad. I have to go back to that stupid control room. Alright, just ignore everything. Go back to the control room. Don't shoot anything.
Yeet.
It's like I'm making all the wrong decisions.
I think it's because the pressure of the underwater is getting to your head. I do like how, you know, when she's wearing the suit and everything, she doesn't obviously have any personality, whereas like when she's out, she's like, everything is so specific, and for this she's just like, I'm Joe Everyman. You know, I think I finally decided, I think I'm gonna play Dead Space again. I was really thinking about it, but now seeing an unnamed character in a random suit, I'm like, I gotta play Dead Space 1 again. It's been a very long time. And then when you do your LP, I'll be like very familiar and can like chime in and stuff.
Yeah.
I actually own a 360 for certain 360 exclusives, and I understand Dead Space isn't a 360 exclusive, but I'm more and more coming to the point where I like 360 more than PS3.
Also, it's a fact that multiplats, like the 99% of them, ran way better on the 360.
If Alex Swingle hears this, he's gonna fight you over that.
What? It's not even. I mean, the PS3 was the more powerful system.
I'll have to find the comment, but it was something. He made a pretty lengthy comment about that, where like it.
I'm like
displays natively better on the PS3, but like the the hardware is better for it, but like the software couldn't work right or something.
I mean, I understand that the PS3 is way stronger than the 360. I'm not debating that. I'm just saying that developers, when they were making their games, used the 360 as the base more than the PS3. So when they ported over to the PS3, a lot of times the ports are garbage. Look at Bayonetta. It's factual that it runs like twice as better on the 360.
Interesting.
I mean, at this point, it doesn't matter because Bayonetta got ported to Switch and other stuff.
Do you remember when games would come out and the versions for different systems would be completely different, i.e. PS1 and N64 or Genesis and SNES or whatever? Nowadays, with the Switch being a relatively strong handheld, like games that are on all three systems are like the exact same. Even on the Switch. Even the Wii U, like when like Mass Effect came out, at least it was like on the Wii U, which obviously why would you play on the Wii U? At least had like tablet stuff, where it was different.
I mean,
did Watch Dogs ever come out on the Wii U, or am I thinking of that was canceled?
I don't remember. Who cares?
Whatever.
Watch Dogs is garbage.
Yeah, it is. I'll tell you why I know for a fact it's garbage, because we were using Watch Dogs to test PS4 controllers, and that game is like actual like awful.
Oh yeah. I hear that Watch Dogs 2 is actually like decent, but
that's what happens when you like essentially ruin a franchise by just like promising a bunch of stuff. Then the second one can come out and be like decent, and everyone's like, I don't care.
That's right.
Turns around, nothing personal, kid. I like how you're getting like 3,000 and it like means nothing. It's like, I guess at least med packs don't get more expensive.
Yeah, you're pretty much just getting enough points to replenish your ammo and your health.
Yeah. What does that remind me of? Oh. Yeah, Parker and I were playing like the online mode for Resident Evil Revelations 1. And early on in the game, all the stuff that you earn is literally like just enough to like buy your ammo back at the end of it. And it was like such a grind for the first like 5 or 7 levels or whatever. I don't know why we did that. I really desperately wanted that game to have a standard co-op mode, and it did not, and I was very disappointed. But you can play the co-op mode like in like an arcade setting, but not with the story and stuff, which I don't understand. Because there's 2 characters at all times. So I was like, of course this has co-op mode, and it did not. Just for what it's worth.
Alright, so this underwater section is actually not that like long in terms of amount of rooms. I think there's only like 2 or 3 more rooms, but it just takes forever because it's so slow paced.
Isn't that a meme in games, that the underwater part? I mean, it's like literally 99% based off the fact that people don't like the water temple in Ocarina of Time. But it's always like, underwater part.
Yeah, and Water Temple in Ocarina of Time would be a million times better if you can just set Iron Boots to be an item instead of going to the menu to change it.
Gib.
City keycard.
Ooh, I get to read.
I don't think there's anything to read. Plethiosaurus.
Yeah, I'm not reading that.
It's a big boy.
17 meters? Good lord.
I don't think we've seen any of those. Wonder what that means.
That's not... Yeah, that's obviously not the thing you were just fighting, because those things were only like...
Yeah, they were
17 feet long.
Yeah. They were
17...
Like,
oh, God.
Just big crocs, basically.
17 meters, please no. whenever they show those like size comparisons to like this is what a human, how tall a human is,